I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Friday, April the 17th, brought to you in part by Zactran. Provide calves with the BRD control they deserve. Treat your cattle with the one cost-effective Zactran. Zactran pounds BRD. Be sure to observe the 35-day withdrawal period after treatment. For more information, go to Zactran.com or visit your VI rep. We've got growing support for this 3014 deal. I've explained it several times. I know you guys would like to have more information about it on every visit, but I've been talking about it all week, and we're looking for a 30% minimum, not a mandated 30%, a 30% minimum, a floor of negotiated cash trade on your fed cattle within a 14-day delivery. And we've gotten unbelievable support for this measure here. We've just really been pushing it this week. Was up at an event in Billings, Montana there over the winter, and was talking with some guys about the things that were going on in the industry, how we thought we could best help it. We had a lot of discussion, a lot of different issues. This is the one we thought we could get behind and really give a big push on. A lot of people had talked about it. It had been brought up in bills years and years ago, but never really anything done about it. We decided to push, and I decided to risk this platform on that measure because I felt like my loyal listeners, my Feeder Flash gang members, I felt like it was something that they would appreciate, something that they could get behind, and we really started pushing that out this week. Little did we know that your radical Cattlemen's Association from the Northern Plains was going to decide to fight this rather than fight for something else. So instead of getting behind something or trying to do their own thing, they decided to fight and resist our minimum 30% goal. And instead they've been putting out in social media and on press releases that we were asking for a mandated 70% captive supply. Come on, guys. We're asking for a minimum 30% negotiated cash trade within each large packing facility, those that are big enough to have to report their sales to USDA for mandatory price reporting twice a day, every business day. So they decided to fight against us, and man, if they would fight for something as hard as they fight against some outfit trying to get something done here, and I guess it's because we're in partnership with U.S. Cattlemen's Association trying to get this done, but they are losing all credibility resisting something that's for the good of the industry. And it's all under the leadership of their snake oil salesman leader. He's a rainmaker that cannot make it rain, and decided to push against us and fight against us harder than they fight for anything else. And actually called me out in a media release earlier in the week or middle of the week here, challenging me and challenging my motives for trying to get this done. And I tell you what pissed me off. What are you talking about? Guys, I don't have any motives here. I work for DV Auction. We're a livestock, mostly cattle auction broadcaster here. I work for salary. I don't work on commission. We try to get as many sponsors as we can get. Sponsors like to get to put their logos and their ads on our stuff. Why? Because we sell 1,200 bull sales a year. Those people, those ranchers that come in there that like to shop for those bulls and look at them and view our sales and bid on them, those people buy vaccine, they buy mineral, they buy animal health products. That's why they sponsor our stuff. And the Yosemite Bill there, he pulled out my sponsors, and I'm not sure why he decided to pull those sponsors out. But it was to disparage me, disparage them, and I thought maybe his following was big enough to do some kind of effect there. But I tell you what, you talk about dirty pool. And I tell you what, they didn't want an enemy out of me, but they got one now. And I don't know where this comes from. You know, I've been in the market reporting business all my life since I graduated with a master's degree in agriculture from West Texas A&M University. I've been all over the country. I've been doing these market videos for over 10 years. First for USDA Ag Marketing Service, for the last 5 years plus with DV Auction. I'm humbled by the following that I have. I love those people. I feel like they're my friends. I talk to a lot of them. You know, I have no motives here. You know, I grew up in the cattle business, been in the auction business, been a livestock auctioneer. I've ran cattle most of my adult life when I had the ability to do it. I got a passion for this industry, and absolutely no motives here other than I don't know a whole lot of people that make a living doing this kind of stuff, analyzing the market on hogs and chickens. So yes, I'm all about keeping this cattle business viable. Big sale barn supporter, you guys know that. Sale barn junkie, grew up in them, live in them, stop at them when I'm traveling down the road if I see a sale going on, and that's my motive right there, guys. I guess maybe I don't have enough experience here, you know. I haven't went broke in the business 2 or 3 times or however many times and then left my creditors hanging. I haven't been forced off my place and had it repossessed and then ransacked the place, destroyed the corner posts and the barns and corrals and house before I left, which takes a real chicken shit to do, I might say. But when you come out after somebody, you better kind of know who you're coming out against. And I'll take my Feeder Flash gang members, I'll take my loyal supporters over anybody else's any day. And I tell you what, we're trying to do something positive for the industry, something that we can win, something that we can get, not something that we can go around collecting appearances and speaking fees for years and years and years with not ever making anything happen. If you're going to call yourself a rainmaker, you got to make it sprinkle once in a while. We're not seeing that happen very often. So they've come out and said, by God, it's got to be 50%. Well, great. You know, if you thought you could get to 50%, why didn't you get it? Why did you wait till we come out with the 30-14 that we knew we had a damn good chance of getting before we ever unveiled it, before we ever started to push it? We did the background, we knew we had the backing, and we thought we'd see how much support we could get from the industry, from just the populations out there. But continue to fight against this 50%. Now they're scrambling around, afraid that we're going to get something done because they know that we've compromised somewhere. Yeah, we talked about 50% before we unveiled this. We decided we couldn't get it. We thought we'd let your formula contract guys live. We thought we'd give a little room for the guys that want to put their cattle on the grid or in some kind of a value-added program, and they're on their formulas. And we thought we could get 30% negotiated cash minimum, not maximum, minimum, and let it grow from there. 30% is a lot to ask from some of these facilities, guys, and especially in the Southern Plains. But you guys that can't look south of I-70, you've got to take a look at the whole picture. But they've scrambled around now and saying, oh, well, we've already got something done here. We've got our 50% stuck on a bill, and we're going to go for it. They stuck it on Senate Bill S-3221, which is Cory Booker, Spartacus. You remember him that ran for president. He's a liberal vegetarian. That's his bill. The title of the bill is to place a moratorium on large cattle feeding operations. So they're wanting to wipe out feedlots, and not just for cattle, for all species. And that's the bill they decided to stick that on. Lots of luck there, guys. I want to give a shout out to some of the folks that signed on to the sign-up letter there for the 30-14 movement. We've had over 2,000 outfits sign on, cattle companies, sale barns, farms, ranches, feedlots, anybody that this is really affecting, and it's affecting people in these communities, guys. And I hope I don't hurt anybody's feelings by calling them out on here, because I have heard of some people that are kind of afraid to sign on this letter because of retaliation from the packers. Can you believe that? Isn't that kind of a sad situation? We're not going to show this whole list to anybody just yet, but I hope that you guys Don't feel cowed down to put your name on here, because we really do appreciate it, and we are going to take this to the legislators, and we're going to run with this, and we're going to get this deal done. We're not going to get this deal done in 2024 like the Cory Booker bill. We're going to get this thing done this fall. But some of the names are on here, no particular order, and sure not all of them, but I want to recognize some of the guys. Some of them I know, a lot of them I don't. Callaway Livestock Center, Kingdom City, Missouri, Jack Harrison, we want to thank them. Spur Creek Saloon and Ranch, sounds like my kind of place, out of South Dakota. Odom's Livestock Supply in Kentucky. Sonderman Farms out of Iowa. Circle A Feeders there. That's a buyback program for that top class, first-rate seed stock there. And then they have a buyback program. They feed those cattle there in central Missouri, but we appreciate Circle A Feeders. Broad Axe Corporation out of South Dakota. Greg Smoker Farms in Indiana. How about Cali Farms and Feedlot in Utah? Don't know if I'm going to say this one right, but Dos Cabezas Cattle Company out of Arizona. We appreciate them. Honeytown Ranch out of Ohio. They're coming from all over the country, guys, all over everywhere. Cattleman's Livestock Auction, Belen, New Mexico. Bartsey Livestock, Idaho. 101 Livestock Market in California. Flying TNT Cattle out of Florida. How about Gulf Regional Livestock and Meridian Sale Barn there in Mississippi? We want to thank those guys for getting on. King Cattle Company out of West Virginia. Kimball Livestock Exchange, Kimball, South Dakota. The Christensen family, they don't sell them any higher than they do right there, and they are doing a hell of a job with that little sale barn in Kimball Livestock Exchange, really making it a regional market there. Conroy Angus out of Nebraska. Richard Hinkey, my old auctioneer buddy there out of Mexico, Missouri. Richard Hinkey, I didn't even know he knew how to turn a computer on, but he sure enough did. A long-time auctioneer around there, and he's got a farm, runs cattle too. He's out of Mexico, Missouri. Maxwell Butte Ranch out of Montana. How about Kurt Sporleader and family there with Creston, Iowa, and Unionville, Missouri, livestock markets there. And what about Springfield Livestock Marketing Center? Tonto Cassie, big in real estate, very successful businessman and seed stock man there. I want to thank Tonto Cassie for signing Springfield Livestock Marketing Center up there too. But let's go ahead and talk about the market. That's what I do, is I'm a market reporter and tell you guys what's going on in the cattle markets and the things that are affecting supply and demand. Let's look at the board for Thursday. April live cattle futures up 77 cents at 95.50. June up $1.65 at 86.47. Going out from there on your live cattle contracts, up 42 to up $1.52. So kind of a nice day. Didn't have wide ranges, didn't have any limit moves in any of the contracts. So we'll take a breath for one day here as we go into Friday. But April feeder cattle up $2.45 at 118.25. May feeder cattle up $2.90 at 118.47, up $1.42 to $2.02 on your out fronts there. Your fat cattle trade, and it is kind of a joke, guys. We had regional packers come out and buy some cattle at what they thought they could get bought. Your major packers are not fulfilling their obligation to pick up their contract cattle, their formula cattle that they've obligated themselves to pick up. They're not going to pick up as much as 25% of them. They're asking for more days on the negotiated cattle that they've already done the deal on. You know, and they're basically losing their trust there, because, you know, guys don't take time to go in and write out full-fledged contracts on all these deals. You got to be able to do a handshake deal. Well, we're not supposed to shake hands right now, so your word's got to be worth something. Yeah, the packing plants are shut down. We realize that. There's many packing plants shut down. There's a lot of them running one shift. There's a lot of them that are closed up temporarily late this week for deep cleaning and things like that. Yeah, times are tough all over. We're in the middle of a crisis here, a pandemic. Well, what if those feedlots had promised those cattle to the feedlot and they didn't have quite enough cattle ready to send them? Do you think they would, the packers would be as gracious as some of these feedlots are being? No, but they've got the hammer on them. And that's what this 3014 deal is all about. we're getting tired of having a hammer on us all the time. And so, so they're buying a few cattle. They bought a little trickle here on Thursday. It's the first time we saw any of the majors come in. They're spreading the buy around, and they're just doing enough just to establish a price for their formula trades, which is a lion's share of the captive supplies that they're bringing into the plant. But we had a few confirmed sales in Iowa, about 1,800 head. A few at 97 live and 154 to 155 on a dress basis, and that's your market on the dress basis. I don't think we've really established a live price yet. Nebraska 1,600 head, all at 155 dressed. That's $13 lower than the dress market we established last week, guys. And you'd think they're throwing us a bone. Not quite so much this week because we had a little bit of dribble sales there early in the week at lower price levels. I realize the spot board's only at 95.5, but when you got DOJ breathing down your neck and you got the whole industry fighting mad, you'd think they might try just a little bit harder than that. Kansas, only 100 head confirmed, also at 155. Nothing out of Texas. Did hear rumors of some bids out there, and I don't know if we had anything, and it wasn't confirmed, of course. Don't know if we had anything sure sold, but there was some 95 and 150 bids floating out there pretty much all afternoon on Thursday. The weighted average, or the week to date, I should say, week to date total volume in your 5-area feeding region through Thursday, 5,500 head. They might try to get as many as 20,000. That's all they got last week. I'm not sure exactly how those formulas are written, how much volume they have to have at those prices to establish the formula base. They may have to go back to last week. I hope they do at 105. But, I realize that we're in a crisis and we've got plants down and it is hurting the industry. But I tell you what, they are all on the take. Up there at the top of the chain there, and then your producers, your cattle feeders, everybody else is just at their mercy. The Fed Cattle Exchange online fat cattle auction, they postponed their sale from Wednesday. They're now going to have it here on Friday morning. They've got 5,800 head to offer on there. Maybe we'll get something established on there and have a little bit more trade on Friday, but we'll just have to see what happens there. But you can go on and watch that sale. It's a timed sale. You don't really see anything. It's a timed auction, all done by the computer, but it starts at Friday at 10 a.m. on Fed Cattle Exchange website. Box beef cutout values, they were sharply higher again, and they're going to continue to keep that. So they're buying dressed fat cattle $13 lower on a Thursday. Your box beef cutout values were up big, $5 to $6 on choice and select. Guess they're just going to keep that and continue to take advantage of the situation that we're in. But choice boxes on Thursday afternoon settled at $235.87. Selects at $225.98. Choice select spread $9.89. Pretty good movement of 137 loads, cuts, grinds, and trimmings. And if we could get the trucking, the logistics, and everything right, there's a lot of demand out there for meat, and we've got a little more panic buying coming in because people are hearing the stories that we're going to have probably a protein shortage, and we probably are going to have a protein shortage as we get to the tail end of this month and probably the first week of next month, with all these plants shuttered and several of them running at reduced levels. But the ones that are open, they're not running completely full bore, guys, and that's a little troubling there. But your slaughter, so disappointing. We're getting here towards the end of the week. We can see how minimal that slaughter is, but 376,000 through Thursday. That's 41,000 less than the limited kill that we had last week, and 112,000 head less harvested this week than the same week a year ago. Let's talk about some other things. Don't forget the bred heifer and young bred cow sale they're having at the Visalia Livestock Market in Visalia, California on Saturday, this Saturday, April the 18th at 1 o'clock. local time. You can view and bid that sale on dvauction.com. They've got 1,000 head of fall calving heifers and young cows there. They've got the quality, guys. And if you got nothing better to do and you're tired of being shut in, just get on that sale and view it. If you want to bid, be sure and get in there early and get registered and get some of that top quality stuff if you're way out west there. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market. Your real-time index on DV Auction late on Thursday at 120.01. It was up pretty big. I tell you what, these feeder cattle buyers were wanting some stock. I know we're in a topsy-turvy market. You can't really count on the board one day to the next. And these cattle are a challenge to buy at a hedgeable level. But guys were pretty aggressive in the sales that I saw quoted on Thursday. But 120.01, that was up $1.59. Your steer tracker, which is your last 25 groups of index cattle there, was at 122.76, so it was still gaining there. But that 120.01 is a 7-day moving average with not a lot of volume in it this week because all the sales were light, but there's several cattle in there to make that thing move. Your latest available CME cash feeder cattle index sitting at 114.56, so lagging way behind. But whenever we get these Thursday sales in there, guys, it's going to bump up quite a bit too. Look at your big sales on Thursday. Winter Livestock, Pratt, Kansas, a good sale. They had a good sale there, and not just for the way things are, they had a good sale. 4,100 head there. Your feeders were $1 to $3 higher. Your market was just awful good. I talked to some guys that were trying to get cattle bought in there, and they said, man, you can't hardly get cows or get any cattle bought there because they just come out so strong on there. But pretty impressive, especially to have a trend there that was so concise and kind of included all your classes there. But feeder cattle, they're $1 to $3 higher. Not a good test on calves, but that's not too surprising there. Their cow market, your boning cows that had some flesh on them, $4 to $5 higher. Your lean cows, your thinner cows that still had some meat, $10 to $12 higher. And I tell you, we've seen a pop in this cow market right here, guys. They had those lean cows up to $62. Had those boning cows, the medium flesh cows, up $68.50. We've seen these cow packers, and the cow packers are so much more honest than your steer and heifer slaughter guys. But so much better. I'm not saying your cow buyers. Sometimes they're a little bit sketchy, but the old joke goes, you always wonder who's going to buy the slaughter cows when we get to heaven. But your cow bids, the guys are carrying a lot more money than what they were carrying last week. You know, sometimes $10 to $20 in the meat more. So if you got some cows and you missed the boat on the last time it popped, you want to get them in on your early sales next week because we don't know how long it's going to last, guys. And but let's look back at your feeders again at Pratt. Look at this outstanding stick-out sale. A load, 56 head of 818-pound feeder steers in Pratt, Kansas brings 128.10. Let's go straight north from there to Farmers and Ranchers Livestock, Salina, Kansas. 3,000 head on offer there. Had a good sale there. They called the steers $3 to $7 higher. Your feeder heifers were $4 higher. Heifer calves were lower, $1 to $6 lower, and not really sure. They just must have been missing an order on that. But look at these load lots and bigger strings of 8 and 9 weight steers here. And I know it's not setting the world on fire. I know you guys are still disappointed, but you know, we're getting them up in the teens pretty good. And for the way things are and the way things have been the last several weeks, that's not too awful bad there. But those 8 and 9 weight steers right there, the loads of them selling from 110, mostly 113 to 119. How about a load of cattle at Paris Stockyards in Paris, Kentucky? Load of 824-pound steers in Paris, Kentucky bring $115. Got a quote out of Lamona, Iowa there. Got some good guys there running that sale, and Jason Allen and your former world champion livestock auctioneer there. And they're doing a good job together, those guys there at Lamoni. And M.L. McCrae, my former neighbor from DeKalb County, Missouri, he always sells his background in yearlings there, and he does as good a job as anybody. And they must feed really well because they always top the market. But look at what they had, 172 head of 902-pound steers backgrounded at 114.75. He had a ton of the bigger cattle. You can tell he'd been kind of waiting to sell these cattle, but he finally had to pull the plug on them. But not a bad day to do it. Had over 300 head of 1,020 to 1,040 pound steers there. ML did at 105.35 up to 106.85. At the top quote that I saw anywhere in the country on Thursday come out of Stockman's Livestock Exchange in Dickinson, North Dakota. 2,100 head on offer there. Look at this big string of steers here, and you ain't going to believe the price. 217 head, 801 pound steers bring 136.75. And that's your feeder flash for Friday.